people no longer bound by their non-disclosure agreements. What can you now disclose? I was a contractor for NASA. I still fully support the agency, but I was extremely bugged when I learned that each separate NASA center, e.g., JPL, Kennedy, American Englishes, Goddard, hides many of its inventions and breakthroughs from the other centers, so that when HQ is ready to assign a big mission and a lot of dollars to one center, they have a better chance to compete over the others. Look what we invented. American Englishes can't do this over there. Give us the next moon orbiter. The downside is that there is a ton of reinvention and duplicated efforts going on. Sometimes years of work go down the drain when another center does the same thing faster. My perspective was, you all work for NASA, share knowledge, collaborate. I was frequently ordered to tone down anything revealing when speaking to other centers. That's not at all different from how the big national labs used to work. The rivalry between Lawrence Livermore and Los Alamos is almost legendary. Supposedly they got better about sharing, but it wouldn't shock me if they were still up to the same hijinks. Heck, it's apparently true for large corporations, too. The Technology Connections channel on YouTube has a big series. I think it's the said one, but it might be the Beta versus VHS one that goes into detail about infighting between different divisions of RCA. You know NDAs are only good if you have the money to sue. Worked with a company that didn't pay me, so I told them their NDA didn't apply. They threatened to sue. My response: you can't even afford to pay me. You sure as hell can't afford to sue. Apostrophe. They also don't extend to keeping you from reporting illegal activity to the justice system. Some places may try to make people believe that, and may even try to imply it in the NDA, but it has no legal standing. Doesn't illegal content in legal contracts immediately void the entire contract? Deleted. Yeah, the company I got laid off from recently, Freight, is still in litigation, or litigation is pending with the government for overcharging them. It would weigh everything and would magically find illegitimate increases in weight or dimensions and tack on punitive increases to their bills. Now, when they weighed a shipment and found it weighed less or was smaller than stated on the paperwork, would they decrease the bill? Of course not. I've dealt with these pricks before at IC. Still waiting on a $1,500 Freight claim for a couple dresses they destroyed. They sent me a bill for a petty 35 pounds overweight. The gross weights from the manufacturer are printed on each ducking box and were verified before we loaded them. I told them to take it off the freight claim since the overweight pieces were destroyed. From the pics the consignee sent, it looks like they just drove a lift fork right through the middle of the boxes. 5 months now. Lost all the profit on that sale. Ate another pair of dresses, so my customer wouldn't be too pissed. And still no word. I hope they go bankrupt. Even if I only got 10 cents on the dollar back for my claim, it'd be worth it to watch that Pose company get parted out and sold off. I used to work for a large gas station chain. I worked at its warehouse, where it creates a lot of the donuts. The room was really hot, so we were always sweating. There's some machines where the donuts get glazed in chocolate. Here, these small machines, they look almost like a BBQ grill. They always wanted us to be super fast glazing the donuts. Working in a hot room and working at super fast speeds, it was natural for a lot of people's sweat to just drip in the chocolate underneath us. Never eat the chocolate donuts from a gas station. Honestly, if the worst thing in those donuts is human sweat, I'm impressed. One time I was holding someone's baby and the mom kinda freaked out and got super apologetic when he drooled on my arm. I think I said, "It's really no big deal. Of all the fluids that come out of babies, this one is the least gross." I forgot about sweat. Still not upset I was drooled on. I think I'm finally ready to let the world know my secret. If you've ever used VeriSite, the loading spinners you see when the report loads aren't waiting for anything. People kept complaining that reports were coming back too fast. So it must not be working right. It doesn't take long to complete a few hundred Google searches simultaneously. so the loading spinner just makes you wait a few seconds longer, so it feels like more is happening. So glad to finally get that off my chest. Bonus fact, edit, I also added applying phlebotinum, reticulating splines, and looking for cat memes as random loading messages. But they wouldn't let me do harassing at TEDCRUZ on Twitter. This is a good one. Now we just need an elevator engineer to admit that the close door button doesn't actually do anything. To be blackballed by big elevator? You'll never see that. Never had an NDA on this, but if I give too much info, I'll get tagged and likely get in serious trouble. BCBS had a severe security breach back in 2007. If you were with them in a certain area of the country and ever called them the number for help on your account, all of your personal info was caught by a third party. Every caller, every piece of data. They never disclosed this breach. Edit, clarification. Snakes, for so many reasons. I dug up some ancient bones, gold, and Mycenaean tombs. I couldn't discuss the finds until the institution who ran the archaeological dig could publish the data. You can read about it here. Link. google.com/am/s/www. nighttimes.com/2019/12/17/science/tombs archaeology ancient Greece. AMP. HTML. Edit to at, I'm a classics student, not the one running the whole dig. But my role in it was very much legal and official lol. We knew to dig there because there was another tomb next to it, and it's located near a big Mycenaean Bronze Age palace. I only dug there for one summer, but it was a blast. If you're interested in archaeology, you should see if there are any local groups that you can volunteer with. Oh my god. My aunt and uncle worked on that site with the University of Cincinnati back around 1960. Very cool. This is something I could spend a lot of time diving into, but the subprime lending company I used to work for as a software engineer spent a lot of time and effort manipulating the UX of our various applications to encourage customers to accept loan terms that were not necessarily in their best interest. I quit pretty quickly after realizing that the people in charge had very little interest in actually supporting us in making a product that would be better for our customers. Please spend more time diving into this. It sounds super interesting. Well, I'm not sure which parts would be interesting. One thing that really stood out to me was the way we would intentionally design the experience around funneling users into automatic payments. As a company, we had some issues with customers setting up their accounts with manual payments, then defaulting on their payments. Pretty quickly after that became an issue, I was being asked to redesign the payment page to make the manual payments option more difficult to notice and select. This change alone drove 20% more of our customers towards automatic payments, which were, of course, best for the company. This didn't make me feel particularly good as a human. Be careful if your pet needs specific shampoo supplied by a Petsum at Artie Graham's Ming Salon. Last I worked there, they weren't letting us order anything, and we had to try to track down shampoos from other stores before they'd let us buy anything. Meaning if your dog needed hypoallergenic shampoo or you were paying for an expensive upgrade, it's very possible that some of the products were unavailable. Oftentimes we would have the Furminator shampoo but no conditioner, and the conditioner is what reduces the shedding, so we'd just have to use regular dog conditioner. We couldn't stop selling these packages because that's what they base our performance on. I was considered a bad salon leader cause I wouldn't push these products we didn't have. Also, teeth brushing is absolutely useless there. It does not stop your dog's mouth from decaying at all, and you'd be better off buying an enzyme toothpaste from your vet and brushing your dog's teeth every day. The toothpaste we had basically was just to make your dog's breath seem better for a little while. Oh, and the reason a bunch of dogs died there is because people were likely not following the rules when handling dogs. Almost every salon I worked at had people like that. They aren't supposed to be kenneling your flat-faced dogs anymore because of it. They're also supposed to have a set of eyes on your dog at all time when they are tethered to the floor. Someone obviously neglected to do that a few months ago when that bulldog passed away. The training program their groomers go through is not very good either. They have 4 weeks to basically become full-fledged groomers and a week is spent on computers. There's never enough dogs to practice all of the cuts they should know. They also don't kick out trainees who repeatedly cut dogs. They try to normalize nicking dogs so they don't have to fire people. But there is no reason dogs should be getting hurt at a grooming salon if they follow the rules they're supposed to. The biggest problem is they barely pay anything to help you upkeep your tools, and old tools cause injuries. With what they pay, people usually can't afford to sharpen most of their tools, so you're stuck with the bare minimum. Hid the name more. Deleted. This is disgusting. I once had to sign an NDA to get a price on a printer for my sign shop. This was a printer that was only sold by one distributor, by the way, so there wasn't even any direct competition on this particular model. I think their gimmick was that if they make a really big deal out of giving you this super secret pricing, that you'd be lulled into thinking it was really something special. Edit. Interesting comment by u/Baird below, who probably has the right idea as to what was going on with this practice. They weren't worried about you going to a different supplier. They wanted to be able to offer different prices to different customers. This is a concept called price discrimination and is a very common practice. In addition, there may have been other companies that would have gotten into the business if they knew what was being regularly charged for these systems. The owner of the company is an absolute psycho. They have been trying to hire developers for years now, and despite paying really well, they can't keep them. I quit after 3 days. I was trying to help out on a high priority bug on my 3rd day when I said all the requests to X endpoint are failing, to which he replied, I see 1 out of 500 requests succeeding. Does that sound like all to you? He then called a company-wide all-hands meeting and proceeded to tell everyone how important it is that we all speak carefully and that we don't need ducking retards like me lying to the company, making it harder to diagnose issues. I told him to go duck himself and quit on the spot. Turns out the company has a big history of this. My boss, who had been there for 2 weeks, had tried to quit the week prior, but was convinced to stay on to meet me. He left a few days after me. Apparently a few people got together and tried to tell the owner that he needs to watch how he talks to people, and he blew up on them about it too. I later heard that I was something like the 10th person to quit within their first month in a row. The sad truth is that the dude actually seems pretty smart, but has been acting like a megalomaniac while he pisses his money away and abuses his employees that are for whatever reason unwilling to leave. This is juicy. I like this one. Oh, I forgot one other part of this story that makes it really funny. They offered a quitting bonus thing since they were having so much trouble even getting people in the door for interviews due to a ton of bad company reviews. They had in the contract that you would be able to get a few thousand if you left and weren't fired within the first 90 days. Apparently it was the owner's idea. Well, when I told the owner to duck off, I quickly sent an email announcing my resignation, to which he replied all saying, let's have a phone conversation about this. It would be highly premature for you to leave on your 3rd day. I declined. The quitting bonus was contingent on signing a non-disparagement agreement. A few days after I left, I get an email from the owner's right-hand man sending me a link to an ex-company Facebook group where past employees go to network or something. I had no interest in that, so I declined. But I'm convinced that it was an attempt to get me to break my non-disparagement agreement. If I joined the group and talked shit about the company, he would try to sue for the quitting bonus back. I don't know for sure that's what it was, but it just stinks of that nutjob trying to be clever. Also, that quitting bonus is no longer offered on their recruiting page. When I was fired from Auntie Anne's in 2010, I signed a 10-year non-compete/NDA contract, promising not to detail the baking secrets or work for another pretzel establishment. Well, that ended this year, so now I can run out and start a pretzel store, because the secret I was keeping was making pretzels literally requires 2 products. One of them being water and the other a large bag of pretzel meal/dust/powder. Quite literally anyone with $2,500 can start a pretzel stand and make perfectly fine pretzels. It's not difficult whatsoever. Well, you forgot to say what the secret browning agent is that all the pretzels get dipped into before they go on the sheet and into the oven. It's baking soda and water. Mystery solved. Also lemonade too. 4. 8. Refrigerate. McDonald's made me sign a NDA regarding a robbery that took place during a graveyard shift. They made me take a ducking polygraph test because they thought my ex and I were involved due to the simple fact that I had stopped by that day to pick up some documents. I was a manager. I had business to do. Duck you, McMidder. Hey, thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe.